Hello. Okay, I'm going to do something today that I have not done on camera before, and that is set up my goals for the new year as it occurs or as it is in the Hobonichi spring start. So that would be April through March. I'm going to set it up. So last year I used the MakseLife system. And let me just show you. So last year, by the way, I've only got a couple. Today is March 29th. I literally have 2 more days left in this, and then I am all done, and I will do a flip through. It is wild. Anyway, so last year, I did a combination in my Hobonichi of HB90 system. This is all HB90 stuff, and the MakseLife system. And then a couple times, let me see if I can find it. You can see that I did, actually, I'll get to the months in a second. So a couple times in the MakseLife, or in my weeklies, I would stick in one of these. I just made this up on Canva. And I would stick, to kind of coincide with the MakseLife colors and categories. And I would stick it in the week, and I would try to, actually, I should probably start here, sorry. So this was where I set all my goals for the MakseLife categories. And I got this idea from, hopefully this is on screen. I got this idea from, for this spread from a YouTube channel called Peace, Love, Plan, and Read. And I also think Tattooed Teachers Plans has done something like this too. This was just where I saw it first. And so this was, where I got the idea was from her. It looks very messy. All the highlighted pink are the things that I accomplished, or at the very least got somewhat farther in. And I have dates and things like that. So it's cool to see how many things I was able to check off. But this was where my main goals were. And then it went into my weeks. And then for MakseLife, my MakseLife goals. And then, like I was saying, you can see a couple times throughout, I would stick in one of these, and these would be my weekly goals. So these would be the, and I'll explain what MakseLife is here in a minute, a little bit more, but these would be these goals kind of broken down into weekly tasks. And really though, these goals, I actually would break down in my monthly, ideally anyway. Oh my goodness, where is it? Everything's so messy. Here. So right at April, I would stick in this right here. So this would be the monthly goals. This came from the official MakseLife website. I only made the little weekly thing that I stuck in here. But anyway, so I would then take these goals, break them down into monthly things that I wanted to do that month that had to do with these. And then like I showed you those weeklies, I would break the monthly tasks down and try and put them into here. So that's kind of how I did that. I did that all the way through October. October was the last time that I had set any monthly MakseLife goals. So what is that, about 6 months worth? And then I kind of just didn't, I'm going to do a big flip through this, so I don't want to flip through too much of it. But anyway, then I did it for 6 months in here, and it was really good. I also noticed that I did not really do the HB90 system in here very much. I love it. So HB90 is a system designed by Sarah Cannon, who's here on YouTube and elsewhere online via her Heart Breathings channel. It is a 90-day planning method geared specifically towards writers, but anybody can use it. I love it. It has helped me so much. However, the planner, I struggle to use the planner itself. There's like a pet hair stuck in my actual thing. I don't know if you can see. The HB90 planner itself, the planning pages, like the prep pages, those are great. The planner itself, I have a hard time using. I've mentioned that before on the channel. So I wanted to just do the goal setting stuff in here. Here's what I realized this last year. And I think I knew this before because at one point I'd wanted to use the Commit 30 for the same reason. And then I kind of gave up on that. I have some older videos on here of Commit 30. I am lucky if I make it a quarter of the way through a 90-day planner period. I just think it's too big of a chunk of time for me personally. I would love to get there to where I could do 90 days worth of planning, But right now, I think I work a lot better with kind of a broad overview of what I want and where I want to go, and then just doing a monthly thing. So with that, for this new Hobonichi, I am going to, I decided, it took me a while to kind of decide what I was going to do. Also, sorry for that glare. I've got my ring light on because I think it's too, it's not horrible, but it's still too bright. So yeah, I'll just open it up so you don't have to see the glare. Actually, you'll see the glare there too. Well, I'll just open it up. So I still have like a little bit of HB90 in here, but I don't think I'm going to do the 3 quarterly goals. Instead, what I'm going to do, and I'll probably print out another Sarah Cannon. I also did Sarah Cannon's Your Path Forward course, which is more about long-term planning. And so I think I'm going to print out a couple of her long-term planning calendars and stick those in here too. And then I'm going to take those long-term plans and break those down into monthly writing goals. And I'll show you what that looks like. So the writing group I'm a part of right now, the theme kind of that we're doing this year is I just made these up on Canva. The theme that we're doing is cultivating the lifestyle of a writer or an artist in general, creative. And that worked out really well because my word was cultivate. And so when that was kind of the theme, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just going to be so good for me. I'm so excited. I really want to lean into that, that cultivate theme. So part of the cultivating the lifestyle of a writer is really focused on and I'm giving a lot of information right now before I get into the meat of this video, so just bear with me. So part of the cultivating the lifestyle of a writer focus that my writing group is doing is basically about the holistic life of the writer, spirit, soul, and then mind and body kind of combined as one, like more psychosomatic, like it's not separated out into 2 categories. It's mind and body together. So, that was something I really wanted to focus on, was the spirit, soul, mind, and body. And I made one of these, and then I decided to also stick with the MakseLife because some of those areas will be really easy to plug into here as well. So it's a little repetitive in a couple things, but that's good for me. And I think that it'll just help me like really hone my focus. So that's fine. And then sorry, I keep flipping the page. And then I made this space here. Well, let me just show you. So this will be the front. This is what will go at the beginning of my monthlies. Let me get to said monthly. So like right here, this is the dashboard for April. And I'm going to want to, I think, decorate this more. So this is going to be stuck right here, right? And so I'll have my monthly MakseLife goals. My monthly MakseLife goals right here. And then it'll flip over, obviously. And then I can kind of do my focal points for these 3 cultivating a writer's life goals or focus points right here, and then my monthly writing goal. And I'm just going to have one writing goal for the month. It doesn't mean I won't do other creative things that month, but my main focus, I want to be writing, and so this will be my writing goal for the month. And then, like I said, some of these will coincide with these, and that's fine. It'll be a little repetitive, but that is fine. I am repetitive, so it works. So that's what I'm going to do. So I made these up on Canva to go in for my monthly. One other thing I forgot to show in my old Hobonichi, or my current Hobonichi for 2 more days, is a couple times, let me see if I can find an example. A couple times, so that's what I was showing. At some points during the week, I would do these and try to do my weeklies on this tip-in that I would do. But then I did this too. The Hobonichi is really nice because obviously there's 7 days in a week. There's 8 categories in MakseLife, 7 days in a week. And then this extra blank space over here, this blank column that's the same size. So it makes for 8 equally divided parts. And I thought that this was a really good way to incorporate my MakseLife goals, the weekly breakdown. It also helped me see where I was obviously not doing anything in these 2 areas this week. And then also where I was focusing more of my time to kind of give myself, my idea was if I kept doing that, it would help me balance things out. I only did this, I think, once or twice in this entire planner, but this is something I would like to implement going forward. So that was something I also wanted to show where the weekly goals will go. Okay, so moving back, I'm kind of talking a little fast, but I wanted to kind of just get a lot of this information out of the way. Oh, and here's this too. So I will not be doing the full-on HB90 quarterly breakdown. But I will still be using a little bit of quarterly planning. And the way I'm going to do that, or the way that I set this up is so here is here are the index pages in the Hobonichi Cousin. And I stuck this one blank. This actually came from a Sarah Cannon printable. And I just printed it out and I stuck it in here. And to kind of differentiate. So everything from this side on is for this quarter. And obviously everything from this side on is for this quarter. And then I did the same thing here. So that's kind of how I stick those tip-ins to kind of break up my quarters. I'm not 100% sure how this is going to look. I think ultimately I'm going to take my yearly goals, break them down into my quarterly, break those down into quarterly, and then the quarterly into the monthly into the weekly. I think that's obviously the most obvious, and then weekly into daily. That's the most obvious route I'm going to take. Also, I used my MakseLife markers to color in my scores for this first life compass going into, I'm going to do a quarterly life compass. So going into this new Hobonichi, and I don't know, they are so inky. I love them, but they're so inky and they bled through the page there. So I don't know if you can tell, but I had to like white it out and put some tape over it because it was just, I had to white out here because it was just getting everywhere. Right here too. It was so much ink. So I might use mild liners from here on out for this part, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, so this is what I wanted to focus on today. This was just a quick little intro to how I want to use MakseLife in my Hobonichi for the second year in a row. Hopefully a little bit more focused. Like I said, I made these things up. I'll tip those in kind of as I go throughout the year. But here's where this is what I want to do today. And this is what I've never done on camera before, like I mentioned. So this is my assessment. These are my assessment scores for this quarter, both going into this new quarter, but also this new Hobonichi spring start year, right? So these were my scores, and I'll get to those in a second. This is where I made these up on Canva, just so I would have extra space for each of the categories. And then these are from the official MakseLife website to kind of help you break down your goals. I don't know how much I'm going to use these, to be honest. I printed them out so that I could kind of have them side by side and then obviously back and front. Honestly, I could have probably done that, but so they'd be like the same topic on each paper. But the truth is it would have been the same amount of ink and the same amount of paper either way. So also, I apologize for talking so fast. I just had a second cup of coffee and it was only half calf, but I should not have had a second cup of coffee. I feel a little jittery at the moment, but we're good. We're moving on. I'm also trying to just get through this because I'm on a slight time limit, and so I just want to do this anyway. So I'll go through the categories in a second, but what I want to do is here's where I put my score, what I scored for going into this new year, and also where I want to be by the end of this year. End of this year being, again, the Hobonichi based on the spring start. So by March of 2026, this is where I want to be. Not necessarily the end of 2025, but March 2026. That is the goal. So personal, and real quick, if you're not familiar with MakseLife, MakseLife has 8 categories that they color code. And these categories are basically life categories, but also goal categories. They're personal, fun and recreation, work and learning, family and relationships, health and wellness, spiritual and personal growth. Personal and personal growth, they describe differently. I kind of just do personal and spiritual. I understand what they're doing, and what they mean when they do that, but for me personally, I just use it personal and spiritual. Then they have financial and physical environment, meaning your home or whatever. So those categories are then broken down into your goal categories that you would set goals and intentions for the year. It's a really great system. A couple months ago, it's been like 6 months now, I think, I debated actually getting a MakseLife planner for this year and using it like January through December. But I just couldn't part with my Hobonichi quite yet. And I decided that this was already working for me in the Hobonichi, even though I kind of gave it up in October. But I just decided that I was going to stick with what I was doing. However, I still really like the system, so we're going to go with it. So what I want to do today on camera is actually set my goals. I probably won't have time to get to the setting up of something like I had shown you of this in my new Hobonichi. I probably won't get to this today. But I want to at the very least set my goals today, or at the very least get kind of an overview of my goals down on paper. So the idea behind this sheet is taking where you're at, where you want to be, and then what changes need to happen to arrive at your goal score. What does it look like? How do you feel? Brainstorm ideas. Then they give you the space to brainstorm. And then the idea is you're supposed to choose 1 to 3 goals for the year from the ideas above that will have the greatest impact on your life in this area. Make sure it answers the question, how much and by when? I don't know if that's what I'm going to do, but I am going to work on it over here. So now let's get into it. And again, I apologize for that very loud, or not loud, that very like rapid fire introduction. Okay, so my first one, the first goal category is personal. MakseLife describes this as self-image, self-worth, self-love, self-care, confidence, happiness, peace, fulfillment, well-being, mental stimulation, hobbies, projects, creativity, alone time, support, sense of community, routines, attitude, perspective, grace, and planning. And for the record, some of these, there is a little bit of overlap, and that's okay because we are holistic beings. So that is all right that there's some overlap. So for personal here, for me personally, I scored a 5. I want to be at a 7 by March of next year. So for me, and this is where I'm just going to write in a few things over here. For me, what I want this to look like is, and this will probably be messy, it's just me basically brainstorming and jotting down ideas. I want to do that here rather than on here because I just feel like I have a bit more room. And I don't know, like I said, I don't actually know if I'm going to hone it in on this. This is nice. I just don't know if that's how I'm going to do it. We'll see. But for now, I'm just going to use this page. Okay. So for personal, I definitely want to read more. Oh, and by the way, this is my brainstorming. This is from the MakseLife website. I'm going to potentially fill these out and stick these in to my planner. This is where they have you set your annual goals for the categories, but I don't know if I'll do that just because I want to do the, where kind of like the 2-page spread that I did last year, but we'll see. So this is just brainstorming. This isn't my actual goal, or these are not my actual goals. Okay, I want to read more, or my official goals. They're my goals, but you know what I mean. Personal, I want to read more. And then part of also these goals and projects and all of that, they need to be broken down into tasks and like actionable steps. So for me, reading more looks like I need to I do not have a TBR list. I have never had a TBR list, and I really want to make a TBR list. TBR, if you're not familiar, is to be read, the books you want to read. I want to read more, so I need to make a TBR list. I also need to make sure I schedule in reading time every day, not like morning, like spiritual reading time, but like actual like reading time. Because when I say read more, I mainly mean fiction, and maybe some nonfiction. So that's that. Okay, so I need to schedule in reading time every day. Ideally, like 30 minutes. That's all I need to just kind of have, heck, even 15 minutes, just 15 to 30 minutes to do a little bit of reading. I also want to, and so this read more, what would be better is if I actually gave myself like a number, right? So, I could focus on like 1 book a month. I could also focus on like 1 book every 2 weeks. That might be a bit much for me right now. I don't think it has to be, but those are just some ideas. So it would maybe behoove me to set a number to that, right? To actually give me a measurable goal. Okay. Another thing that I want to do that was listed on here was creativity and hobbies and projects. For all of last year, I took anything creative like that, and I included that in the work and learning. And this time around, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to keep more, because not that my work is creative, so there will be some overlap there, but I think here in personal is where I'm going to focus more on creative play. Creative play and just like growing in different creative areas. I just really need that. Also, sorry, this is very messy. Growing in different creative areas. That's why we practice those, so that when I put it in my actual Hobonichi, it's pretty. Although I don't know how accurate that is, because you saw my spread from last year and it was quite messy looking. I also want to do kind of along these lines too. I want to read The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and then therefore schedule monthly artist dates. Those can be solo by myself or with like my husband or my son or my siblings or whatever. Schedule monthly artist dates. That's just something I really want to do, and just make sure I'm filling that creative well. In fact, I should put that here too, filling creative well. I also want to, like one artist date I'm thinking of too is there's a 1 day long beginning crochet class in my town happening in May. And I've never really been interested in crochet, but I'm like, you know what? I think I like crochet products or projects or whatever. And I'm like, I should do that. I think I'm going to do that for a couple of reasons. So like that's something like register for the crochet class. You know, that's a task I can do associated with that. So I want to read more. I want to focus on creative play and filling the creative well. Sorry, that's all messy looking. And honestly, I think that's it, to be honest, in that area for my life. So this is where I'm not going to really break this down because I don't really feel like I need to. I'll come up with my number of books here. I'll just make a note, come up with a number of books to read. And then like here, think of make a list of artist date ideas. And if you're not familiar, artist date doesn't mean like going on a date with somebody, like going with my husband to do something artistic. It can be that. But the idea is actually to even just go by yourself if you need to or want to, and do something creative to just keep that well full. So make a list of artist date ideas. I would say at least 2 per month, even though I only want to go on 1 a month, having just a well of ideas to choose from would be good. If you can hear anything, that's my son in the background. Register for crochet class. Okay, so I think that this to me is fine. So I'll come up with a number of books. I'll come up with some ideas, different creative areas, even other things too. Like I want to continue practice sketching. I also want to practice some spiritual, some iconography, but that might actually be more spiritual. But iconography, I can spell. I know how to spell words. Okay, this is getting messy. So those are some ideas too. There we go. Oh, and paint. See, now I am thinking of something else. I want to fill a sketchbook. And that includes like playing with watercolors. I recently got some actual I don't know how professional the Winsor Newton watercolors are, but they're definitely better quality than Crayola. And I am in love with them, and I'm very excited. I got them for my birthday, and I'm very excited to play with them. So I want to fill a sketchbook. This is my other goal. Okay, there we go. And that could be part of also scheduling monthly artist dates, right? Okay, so with that, we're gonna close the book on that. Okay. Now we're moving on to fun and recreation. I scored a 2. I would like to be at a 5. Fun and recreation is probably pretty self-explanatory. MakseLife describes it as joy, celebration, peak experiences, vacations, time off, rewards, accomplishments, social interactions, friends, dates, Activities, fun, laughter, rest, and rejuvenation. A couple of things. One, for me, not that dates can't be fun, but I'm gonna keep that with family and relationships just because that's dates with my husband, right? Two, I wanted to point out I always score low in the fun and recreation. And there's usually a correlation, and there has been a correlation for a long time. In fact, I bet, I'm just curious, if I look back over my scores, quarter 2 of last year, this time last year, I scored a 2 in fun and recreation. For quarter 3, I scored a 2 in fun and recreation. Quarter 4, I scored a 2 in fun and recreation. And for the last quarter, which was the start of this year, the start of 2025, I scored a 4. So I did score higher, which is nice. I did make it higher. So that's actually really nice to see that I did improve in that area. But obviously in the last 3 months, this has gone down. And I think it's just important to note that for me personally, this goes down, this health and wellness, financial, and physical environment all are low. And I usually score low in fun and rec, physical environment, and financial. These 3 areas especially, but also health and wellness. But these 3 areas especially really limit, or rather I should say these 2 areas, financial and physical environment, really do affect my ability to have fun. And to like truly rest and to truly play. The reason being is like, honestly, if my house is cluttered and I want to have some genuine downtime, I can't really relax because my house is cluttered, but I don't feel like cleaning. So I just kind of sit there and I don't really have fun, right? I'm not really relaxing or truly resting. I'm distracted by the mess, but I'm not doing anything about it because I'm trying to relax. And so it's just this never ending thing. Same with financial, right? If I want to maybe go and do something that involves money, I either don't do it because we don't have the money to, it's not in the budget, or I do end up doing it and then I feel guilty because it's not in the budget. And so there's not a lot of true fun and recreation happening, right? And it doesn't mean that you can't have fun and be broke, and it doesn't mean that you can't have fun and have a messy house. You obviously can, but it does impact those things. So for me, for fun, I would like it to improve a little bit more by the end of the year. And for me, this is going to look like a lot of nature stuff. Actually, that was something that personally, I probably should put that on personal too, really quick. I'm going to put it here as just nature, and I'll add more specifics to it later. But this plays into this, and it also plays into this. So spend more time outside. I have a lot of fun doing that. Spend more time outside. And this will look like for me, biking, go camping at least once, and go hiking. So for biking, the thing I need to do is, so this is my main thing. The thing I need to do is actually get a bike. I have a bike currently, but it's like a full-on racing bike. Someone gave it to us for free, and it is not, I cannot do it. So I am going to sell it or give it away, and we're going to get myself just a basic like $150 bike from Walmart. Get a new bike. Okay. For going camping, we need to buy a tent. We're actually going to buy a yurt. We're very excited about it. Buy a tent/yurt. Mainly we're getting the yurt though, because it's very easy to put up by yourself. And neither my husband and I are great at putting up tents. And then with go hiking, I just need to do some research some good spots, some good local spots. And this also goes with camping too. Okay. And then like the artist dates also kind of come into, you know what? The artist dates do kind of come into play here, but that's also personal. And obviously that will just kind of like inevitably affect my fun and recreation score too, right? So I guess I won't worry about that. Same with the nature here. Like it will just, in fact, I'll just cross it off to keep things simple and more separate for the sake of plans and such. I want to do more local community activities. So this looks like Things like makers markets. And this doesn't necessarily mean tabling at them, although I would love to, and that'll come later. But like just go to makers markets or like things like that. There is a Ren fair. Last year was the first one, and it's in a town about 40 minutes away from us, and it was the first one in our area ever, I think, and it did really well. So I would like to go to that. I've never been to a Ren fair before, and I feel like it's probably right up my alley. We also had last year our first Comic-Con in our area, and I heard that actually did pretty well too. I don't know if I want to do that, but I'll put it down. So just things like that. There's some like local art things, art and music, art, food and music really, and food. So just some more local community things. I really like doing that, particularly like with my family or my siblings or whatever. So I want to do that. And honestly, that's it. That's all I need to do right there. So fun and recreation and personal are done. Now we're going to go into this next one, which is work and learning. This is my highest score. I scored a 6, and I want to get to an 8 by March of next year, March of 2026. Work and learning is described by MakseLife: career and job, parenting, homeschooling, higher education, learning skills, contribution, purpose, fulfillment, coworkers, feeling appreciated, support, post-retirement activities, community, curiosity, vocational skills. Obviously, I put community and fun and recreation because I don't really associate it with that. For me, my work, not that I don't include learning in it, but I really focus more on the work. This is also currently my favorite category. Obviously spiritual is very important to me too, but like this is like where a lot of my focus has been lately. And I just have a lot of fun with this category. So, which is probably why I scored higher in it. Okay, so I've got my writing. I've also got editing. I've also got Etsy, which is where I sell my zines. I would also like to start selling and making postcards, greeting cards, and stickers. Now, stickers are going to take a little bit longer. That's kind of a big learning curve, but therein lies the learning part of it, right? So those are things I want to start selling and making. We'll see how that goes. All of this also, there's my weird, all of this also leads to like makers markets. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Zine fests. I want to do Boise Zine Festival again. I did that last year and I had so much fun. I wanted to do the Salt Lake City one as well, and I totally missed well, it's not that I missed it, it's just the applications, like, they got full overnight, so I didn't even have a chance to apply to table at the Salt Lake one. So hopefully next year. So I'm going to make, like, Boise Zine Fest, the Grid Zine Fest, which is in Salt Lake City. So I'd really like to do that. There's also Tree Fort, which is a Boise music festival, and I know a lot of zine people go there too. So those are things I'd like to do too. With writing, I really want to get ahead on my serial. I want to let's see. I want to write more write and finish more short stories. I have a lot of started short stories that I have not finished, and so I'd like to finish some short stories that I've already done or started. I would love to start work on another serial idea I have. And then editing, okay, this is where, I don't really know if this is, I mean, it is a goal, but I need to renew my membership. And I also want to put together, I want to take a class, or take a course through my membership thing to kind of, up my ante a little bit. I don't know if I use that term correctly, but And then I also want just to be a little bit more marketable, I guess. And then I also want to put together, I don't really know what to call this, put together a client info, like an info packet for clients. There we go. An info PDF for clients, just so that I can send that to them when I'm applying for jobs. And this really is kind of it, honestly. And here's where I'm gonna have to revisit this. I'll revisit this later because I want to obviously break this down a little bit more. And the truth is, I have even more things for like writing. Like I want to go on a writing retreat, which is already happening in May, but go on a retreat. I want to do some long-term planning. Well, just in general, do long-term planning. That's kind of all across the board. Do long-term planning. Obviously, you never know what's going to happen in the future, but just so I have more direction, because really that is actually something that I just really need in my work. It's my favorite area, but oh, and you know what? I'm thinking of a lot of other things too. I need to have a social media plan. I'm kind of using social media a little bit willy-nilly at the moment, and I don't have much of a plan. So I need to have a social media plan. I also need to work on my website. And I want to also work on Substack. So this has a lot, and I will clearly need to rework through some of this. So I won't do that now. But basically this is what I'm working with. And I want to organize my like finances and business book. Biz book. There we go. Okay. Okay, so that is work and learning. Family and relationships. I scored a 4. I want to be at a 6. My husband and I want to have weekly date nights. That has really fallen by the wayside. We don't need to go out for date nights. We have just as much fun playing card games together, but we just need to do it, right? So like weekly date nights. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty self-explanatory. We, schedule / pick a day. I think we decided it would be Sunday evenings or Monday evenings. Sunday evenings. Pick a day. Pretty sure it'll be Sundays. And then basically list a bunch of ideas. So we have some things to pull from. Okay. Then I want to continue. I already have scheduled into my week like a mommy son date night because my husband's in class. So I mean, honestly, just continue mom son date nights. That we'll just continue doing that. But I think I want to make a list more ideas. Because we do a lot of the same thing, which is fun. We have fun doing it, but maybe just some more ideas for things we can do. So weekly date nights, continue mom and son date nights. I didn't really circle anything on this one, but like I said, it's kind of all, I need to organize it. I'll probably turn them into like buckets kind of, and then just make things underneath them. Okay, so another thing we want to do is I want to get a more consistent homeschool schedule. Consistent? That's how you spell consistent. Homeschool schedule. Okay. And we're getting there, so I think that's doable. And we just really need to like schedule it and not move it if we're able to, not move it unless we have to, The other thing is I really want to work, really want to hone in on some life skills with my son. On some life skills with Declan. And I'll make a list of those in a little bit, but that's just something where he's 10 and So he's still very much a kid, but going into those preteen years. And so these last couple years of childhood before being a teenager are also your preteen years. And so we still want to keep that, fun childhood, still want him to have that, but also like preparing him to become a teenager and then to eventually, between the ages of, anymore, it's anywhere from 18 to 22, preparing for him to go off on his own at that point, and be able to take care of his own family if that's what he chooses to do or whatever. And be, if he ends up having a family, I mean, if he chooses to get married and stuff. And so we want him to be able to do that and be able to take care of himself and all that. So just making a list of just really honing in on some life skills that maybe I don't feel like he's quite gotten down yet, which, okay, whoever gets all their life skills down, but, just to kind of prepare him a little bit better for some things. So I think that's pretty easy. I mean, obviously there's other things. I'd like to have like a quarterly sibling day. My siblings all live very close. So maybe like a quarterly sibling day, coffee with my parents, coffee dates with my parents. I don't have a lot on here with my friends and stuff. And it's not that I don't, obviously care. Obviously I care about my friends and I have really close relationships, but I just feel like, like my writing community, I mean, I'm just putting some people down that, obviously church community, but I don't really know any like specific goals I want to put down in those areas, other than like, I mean, I'd like to have a quarterly sibling day so I can schedule that in. I'd like to have coffee dates with my parents, schedule that in, I'm pretty, actually, I talk with my writing community once a week, if not a little bit more. And so that's definitely going well. But really I think really where my focus I want to be, especially in these next couple of years of my son's life, I really want to make sure we're like honing in on our marriage as well as on our parenthood and our relationship with our son. I just feel like that's where we want to be right now. So that is that. I'm going to take a quick break or not a break, but like see where I'm at on this. We're at 42 minutes. I think we can finish this up pretty quick. Okay, now we're going to health and wellness. Health and wellness, MakseLife describes pretty self-explanatory: diet, nutrition, sleep, rest, general health, exercise, water, habits, aging, pain, mental health, physical health, emotional health, energy, vitality, physical ailments, depression, anxiety, stress, trauma, therapy, medication. One thing I really appreciate about this is that it is psychosomatic. It includes mind and body together, both physical health and mental health together, because a lot of times people separate them out. And while I understand that, the reality is those two things, if you're not taking care of your mental health, your body will suffer and vice versa. So I like that it's cohesive, and that kind of also lines up with what I was saying earlier about the spirit, soul, and then like the mind / body, like kind of combining that in my writing group. So I'm looking forward to that combination, and I like that MakseLife combines those as well. So for me, obviously it's going to come into two spaces: physical and mental. And for physical, so last year I actually had a huge success. I lost 30 pounds in 1 year from June 23 to June 24. And then by late November, I was at the lowest I'd been. I think I was at 173, which was the lowest I had been in a long time. And then I'm now at 177. In fact, I was at 177, I believe, on my birthday. Yes, March 8th, I was 177 and a half. So my goal has been to get into the 150s. I don't need to be like right at 150, but my goal is to be there. So we're going to say, I'm just doing the math over here real quick. We're going to say I'm 178 right now. I haven't weighed myself, but we're just going to go with I'm probably still around that, because I mean, not that this means anything, but I feel the same as I did on my birthday. So 178, we'll round the 177 and a half up. And I'm just going to say 150 for the sake of ease, even though I'm okay if it's like 155. Just I want to be in that 150 to 159 range. But clearly I'm not a math person. I had to work that out. That makes a lot of sense. So I would like to lose by March of next year. I would like to lose 28 pounds, around there. And honestly, I could even, I mean, not, you know, I don't want to be like unhealthy, but I'll even just say 30 pounds, like around that frame, right? Cause yeah, June of 2023, I was at 205 pounds, which was the heaviest I've ever been. Just for my height and everything, it just was not good. And so, I wasn't having any health problems other than like my cholesterol was high for the first time. And it's like, well, I'm not getting any younger, so I should probably start taking care of myself a little bit better. Plus I just wanted to feel better. So part of this, also includes, and this all kind of goes together, obviously just more movement. I last week ran, well, I say ran, I was jogging. I jogged, a half a mile, on our track, the local junior high track, and it was so nice and I loved it. So I would really like to do like the couch to 5K. Again, I'm more of a jogger, but, so like something like that. I would also like to do some stretch and strength. I really need to do that too. And another thing, this doesn't really, I mean, it does, but I also need to get a standing desk. Get a standing desk. That's kind of more physical space, but it does come into play. I also want to eat more plants and whole foods. I don't mind McDonald's every now and then, but I need to make sure I'm, just, you know, taking better care of myself in that regard. Eat more plants and whole foods. This probably also goes into the personal category, to be honest, but I could put it here too. One of the things, I'm just going to make a quick note while I'm thinking about it, is I kind of want to rework my wardrobe. I know that sounds so like, it's so trivial almost, but it is something that I really, I just am really struggling to, you know, obviously I lost weight and so I bought a few new clothes, but like none of my clothes are very cohesive, and, you know, just trying to figure out which clothes look good on my body type and which color and all that. And I just, you know, I don't need it to be like a capsule wardrobe by any means, but I just need a bit more cohesion, because I do find it's hard for me to get dressed sometimes and figure out what I want to wear. Not in like, I can never have anything to wear type of way, but like, it's genuinely like nothing goes together right now. Like, so I really need to rework my wardrobe. Okay. So that's my physical health. And then for mental health, honestly, the only thing is I want to just restart my CBT, workbook. CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy. I'm not in counseling right now, but, I have a workbook that's very helpful, and I kind of fell off the bandwagon, and so I want to restart that. And then I also want to focus on getting better control of my cognitive distortions. Better control of cognitive distortions. Cognitive distortions, if you're not familiar, I believe there's 12 of them. They're kind of like unhealthy thought patterns. So like, for example, all or nothing thinking. Like if one person says something mean to you, then you just think, well, everybody hates me. Like, you know, or if a friend says something and then maybe they're kind of short with you, you think, well, they don't like me anymore. And you'd be amazed at how many people, it sounds so silly, but you'd be amazed at how many people struggle with that kind of thinking. There's other ones too. I just can't remember what they are. So really those are my goals. Those are my goals there. There's really nothing else to do with that one. Flipping it over to spiritual. Spiritual is obviously a very important part of my life. And I just don't, like I said, I don't even do the personal growth. It's just spiritual for me in this category, just because I use the personal in the other way, or in the other section. I scored a 4 though, not very high. I want to be at a 6. Which you might be like, why don't you want to be at an 8? I mean, isn't that what you did for work? Is work more important to you? And it's like, obviously it's not. But but it's the same. Now I don't know where it is, but it's the same. It's the same thing, right? It's just 2 above. Like, it's the same equivalent. And the reality is, like, this is just the nature of life. There's going to be seasons where you're more focused on this than you are on this. And the problem, however, for me, like, obviously there's going to be times where my spiritual life is going well, or it's just it's in equilibrium. And so I'm more focused on something that's not. That's just the nature of life. The problem is, if I'm going to spend some more focal point in this area, this, for me, personally, I don't want to fall by the wayside, and I let it fall by the wayside this last year. So that's where it's a problem for me. So what I want to do, and I'm almost done here, what I want to do with this category is, for me, it's 2 sections as well. I've got personal, the personal aspect of my spiritual life, and then the communal or church, you know. So for personal, I just want to have more intentional morning time. Or quiet, I'll just say quiet time. Usually it's in the morning, but every now and then it's later. Intentional quiet time, and this includes getting back into scripture. I have been really bad at reading my Bible. I used to read it every day without fail, and the last couple of years, I've really fallen off that bandwagon. Getting back into scripture, spiritual reading, well, spiritual books. I'm gonna say daily saints. And then, and journaling. That's kind of personal too, obviously, but, oh, you know what I just thought? You know what? I'll put it here for journaling. This kind of has to go morning pages. That has to go with, I keep thinking of things for personal. The Artist's Way also has the morning pages. I need to do that too. So that's where there's some overlap, but, so morning pages. And then also, this has to do with my quiet time, but I'm making it its own thing, is my prayer, both morning and evening. I do not have an evening prayer rule, and I really need to do that. So that's my personal. And then communal, I'm a Sunday school teacher. I want to be more prepared for Sunday school. Oh, you know what else I want to do for personal? I want to do a monthly confession. I feel like if I do it every month, it just keeps me in check more. Monthly confession. Okay. So I want to be more prepared for Sunday school. I'm also now going to be the youth protection coordinator at our church, and I want to be more organized. We've got to get ready to go to church. Speaking of, be more organized. So I'll wrap this up. Be more organized, or be organized as the youth protection coordinator. You're good. My husband's coming in to get ready for church. I am wrapping this up. He's looking at me like, is this okay? Okay. More prepared for Sunday school, be organized as the YPC, so I can just be on top of that. And then also just my church attendance in general has been lacking a lot lately. And so, I've still been going, obviously. Oh, you know what else I need to put in here too? Is keeping the fast. I've been really bad with keeping the fast. Okay, keeping the fast. Is my church attendance. Yep, I just need to get a handle on that, because the last couple of years I've really let that slip, hence why I'm probably at a 4 instead of higher. So that's that. Okay. So we're moving on from there. And then we're on my last two, which is financial. MakseLife. Oh, I don't think I read what MakseLife described spiritual as. For spiritual, MakseLife, pretty self-explanatory, but spirituality, religion, faith, prayer, gratitude, meditation, nature, reflection, personal development, growth, self-actualization, compassion for self, compassion for others, charity, surrender, purpose, process, journaling, service, and acts of kindness. Those are all great, and hopefully I'll still do some of those additional things like acts of kindness and all that jazz, but this is where I need to focus right now. Okay, so then for financial, probably pretty self-explanatory: budget, income, financial security, money management, credit rating, spending, increasing wealth, insurance, relationship with money, automation, financial planning, sinking funds, bills, emergency funds, financial audit, peace of mind, savings, debt, and taxes. I scored a 2. I would like to be at a 4. Of course, I want to increase our income, especially through my work. or through my creative work. But also, part of the big, so that's obviously a big goal, but big thing is we need to have weekly budget meetings, my husband and I. So that's something we want to do, weekly budget meetings. And we need to just schedule those in so that they happen. And then we want to, build our emergency fund. And even though I disagree, so Dave Ramsey, we don't really follow Dave Ramsey's, I like some of his, ideas and stuff, but we don't really follow him. He has his emergency fund set at $1,000, which I think is kind of unrealistic anymore. I think it should be a little bit more, but I'm going to go with it for now. I'm going to say of at least $1,000, just to have that, even though, like I said, I disagree. I think it needs to be more in current year, but we're going to go with that for now. So weekly budget, and like for this increased income, ideally I would have an actual number, but I don't. Last year was the first year I started making any money with my creative work. And so I don't really have too much to go off of. I made less than $1,000 last year, which was an increase in our income, but I don't really have anything to like go off of with regards to that. So I don't really want to attach a number to it quite yet. Some of this will just probably, it's not even really it is a goal, but it's not like a tangible goal, if that makes sense. Right now, the weekly budget meetings, building emergency fund. I also really do, I guess another Dave Ramsey thing I do like is I really want to get better at using cash when I'm out, and grocery shopping at Winco. If you're not familiar, if your state doesn't have Winco, it's just a very, I don't even know if it's a discounted grocery store, but it's just a very affordable grocery store. So we really just want to do Winco, like just really keep our budget in check as best as we can. And I feel like I had something else, but I'm not sure. Obviously things like eating at home more. That's something I just thought of for family. Let me add that in really quick. We have been wanting to make sure that we eat dinner at the table at least eat at table 4 out of 7 nights a week. And we say 4 out of 7 because Wednesday nights we always eat at church. Sometimes Saturday nights we either have a church dinner that we go to, or we'll have like a movie night where we'll eat while we're watching a TV or something. And then Tuesday nights, for example, my husband's in class, so my son and I usually eat while we're watching something as well. So at least 4 out of 7 nights, we want to eat dinner at the table together. So really, this is the only one I have a number attached to right now. The other ones are really just trying to get more of a handle on our finances. I will say one, and this isn't very tangible either, but we want to live below our means. That sounds very broad, but live below our means, and also to really start to see our money as being God's money, so that we maybe like don't have it, like just relinquish some control over it, and also are better stewards. In fact, maybe that's a better way to word it. See our money as God's money, just being better stewards. And again, there are things that like more tangible things I could add on to these, but for now, and especially because I'm hurrying up, we just want to be better, more responsible stewards of what we have. I feel like I should add that, of what we have. Okay. So again, financial is pretty simple. It incorporates a lot, but really like the goal here is we want to just feel more financially secure as well. Feel more financially secure. Like most people our age, we kind of live paycheck to paycheck, and we're kind of like, we accept that maybe that's how we have to live life right now, but we would like to just feel a little bit more secure. And that's where even just having this extra $1,000 is nice. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Okay, last, and then of course, this goes with spiritual as well, but I'm going to write on here tithing. We kind of struggled to actually keep up with tithing last year, and we definitely felt that from a spiritual standpoint. And once we picked it back up again, we ended up feeling that too. Like we had a lot of little blessings come in various ways, and we just don't want to forget that. Okay, last one, physical environment. I scored a 2. Actually, I'm going to just say, what time is it, honey?
Probably about 4:20.
All right, I'll be fast. Don't worry. We have church in like 40 minutes. Okay, physical environment. I scored a 2. I always score kind of low in this area. I want to be at a 5 by this time next year. MakseLife describes physical environment: home management, house, work, school. And by work, it would mean like your workspace, right? School, car, garage, yard, clothes, furniture, possessions, pets, garden, organization, clutter, mail, support, energy, peace, and comfort. Okay, so for me, this is also going to be kind of an easy one. I want to, we just want to declutter. This sounds so broad, but trust me, it's a big goal. Declutter every area of the house. And what I mean by this is we just need to go through and make a list of all the areas and everything. So go through each area and declutter, donate/discard, just depends on what we need to do. And then we also need to make a list of what to-dos are in each area. To-dos, tasks need done in each area, just so that we can get on top of, for maintenance purposes, because we are really behind in some of that too, for maintenance purposes. Okay, so that's that. Part of this is also making our home more ADHD friendly. Both my son and I have pretty severe ADHD, and this is a problem. Oh, you know what? I just thought of another thing real quick. Screen time for our family. We really need to limit screen time for all of us, not even just my son, for all of us. We've really been struggling with that this past like 6 months. It's been really bad. So limiting screen time. Okay. Making our home more ADHD friendly. And then I'm also going to say, I don't want to bring in a lot of new decorations, especially because we will probably be moving in a couple of years. And maybe I'll share more about that in a future video, but we will probably be moving in a couple of years. In case maybe I've mentioned it already, but I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll probably be moving in a couple of years, 3rd time. And, 3rd time I've mentioned it, not 3rd time we've moved. And so I don't want to necessarily redecorate, but I definitely want to, I want to make our home a haven. And I know that sounds really like trendy or whatever, but I really do. We just want to, so like consider restyling. And we're not really like, I mean, our house is pretty like normally decorated, but just, I don't know, just having a different atmosphere. I don't know, just ideas, I guess. I don't really know how I'll put this into a goal. And I don't even really know if it's, right now I really just want to focus on the decluttering, to be honest. This is really the big one. Because we can be cozy. We don't need it to be fancy decorations or anything. We just want it to be more organized, because that's what helps us relax. Also, though, on this, we really want to get our backyard in order as well. And that kind of includes the decluttering. Get backyard in order. We want to enjoy our backyard too. Make our home a haven. Consider restyling, different atmosphere, redecorating. I guess that's kind of the same as restyling, but really just getting rid of excess. And I'm not like a minimalist by any means, but just we have a lot of excess and not enough room to keep it. So getting rid of excess. This is kind of family and relationships, but we also want to be more hospitable. I mean, we're friendly people and we have people over, but we want to be, we want to host dinners more often. Host people for dinner. That's not really physical environment. That's kind of relationships. But the thing is, in order to want to do that, I want to have my house clean. And so part of this is also, and this would go under personal probably too, is routine. Rhythm and routine. Routine and rhythm. this is something we also really need to get into. And so I would also say with physical environment, designated like chore days for different things. Also just to keep things simple. Okay, so I think that's everything. I kind of went fast there towards the end, but it's all right because I think you get the gist. And then this way it also, is this all of them? Yeah, this is all of them. It helped me process a few of the things that I wanted to work on, and gave you an idea of maybe how you can incorporate some of this into your Hobonichi. So I will probably do like a part 2 video where maybe I set this up in my Hobonichi. And yeah, so stay tuned for that, hopefully. And if you made it this far, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Have a blessed day. Thanks.